All right, we are back finally with two men that the punters have been screaming for. We got a taste of them early in 2024 and they disappeared because they're very busy. One of them is, and the other one's very sick and goes on holiday a lot. So here, let me introduce you on to the biannual Shoe Geeks edition. Tom DeCanto from Sydney. I think he's the Sydney Swans head podiatrist. That's an interesting one, Tom. I want to hear more about that, by the way. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good fun, that role. I enjoy it.
What percentage of players do you make and sell an orthotic to?
Well, thankfully I don't have to sell anything to them because the club will cover it. I reckon probably half the players to 2/3 are wearing some sort of non-original insole, whether that be a pre-made type. Like there are some common pre-mades that you guys know called Formthotics that a few of them use. As they get used to certain devices, they get quite superstitious with all things, and so sometimes they'll stick with something, even though I think I could probably make something better for them. But
so 50% to 75%, is that a reflection of the population too?
Nah, surely not.
No. I think it's different. It's different in elite sport. I think it's also different with this particular sport, AFL, where they run that amount of Ks in footy boots. If I can even do something, even if it's not changing mechanics, but just offering a touch more cushion to offload high pressure areas on the forefoot stud patterns where they get things like sesamoid pain and stuff like that. So I've actually started, boys will like this. I know Nita, I'm gonna we'll ship you up some sheets, but I've started fitting out some of the boys' boots with and girls with the PIBA lined insoles.
So it's been super orthotics.
We've got super boots. Yeah.
Are you still using TPU linings at all, or?
No, well, actually, I haven't been able to access any more of the TPU stuff. So that's hence I was looking for other. I was obviously looking for PIBA, and after chatting to Jordan Donnelly about some of the other foams, like he was telling me about how Puma in their super shoes potentially using a different type of foam, and I sourced a couple of different types from China. Yeah. So I've done a bit of trial on myself and a few others, and it's so far so good. Yeah. My only concern so far is like durability of them. So I'll have to follow up with the guys and with runners that I put them in, but I don't think it'll be any less durable than for the same density as EVA, because typically I'd use EVA for orthotic covers. Yeah. And you want to use a low density for that nice feel on the foot that it's soft. But if you use a soft EVA, as we know, which I'll probably talk about with my daily trainers, like using the soft EVAs feels great until it wears out. But I think the PIBA or the ATPU stuff is going to be a little bit more durable. Not quite as durable as TPU, but more durable than the same softness of EVA, I reckon.
So Julian, there's this boot called your footy boots pretty well. You played footy. Remember the one that looked like a sneaker, the Asics boot, the Gel Ultimate. We call them a career saver. How many guys are wearing a career saver in the Sydney Swans, Tommy?
To be honest, I think there's only a couple that are in the career saver. Yeah, and they love it. And then it's hard. Yeah. Are
they the veterans, the older fellas?
Yeah. It's the older fellas, the bigger guys. Yeah. They get to a point where they just want comfort.
Nice wide footprint and good for training as
closest to a running shoe. Like they can just that's more comfortable.
Yeah.
You ever seen a footy player play in a trail shoe?
Training? I've seen a lot training in the off season.
No, like playing in a running shoe.
No.
Not even like one of those Solomon Thunder Cross or whatever they're called, like the
Speed Cross. Yeah.
No chance. No chance. No, because some of them playing like training in the field hockey shoes and stuff like that, but they would never play in it because they don't have enough traction.
Yeah. Okay.
They'd be worried about the coach will just go rip at them if they slip at an important play.
Yep.
Nita, you're here too, and you're joining us from your holiday. It must be nice.
It is.
On a holiday?
Yeah, it is. We're visiting my wife's grandparents in Scotland, and our daughter Zara gets to meet great grandma who turns 90.
Wow.
It's a pretty nice part of the world. Like, we're in a place called Tarbet, which is West Scotland, and everything here is like woodlands and lochs, and like our grandma's 1 mile walk with the dog each morning goes through this woodlands area over bridges and through moss and things like that. That's probably why she's 90 and fighting fit as well. It's consequently the running through here is tough, and like I nothing short of saying people that do the fell running through here in Scotland is about as and you would know, Julie, it's about as rough as it gets when it gets to running. So
yeah, there's no the trails. The trails are kind of a bit of a luxury there, and you might use a few of them going up, but downhill you just skip the trail. It's just fastest to the bottom, right?
Mate, I did this run from this one castle to another. It's famous part of the Kintyre Way, and my grandma said, "Oh no, it's pretty good. You can just wear normal shoes down there." And I ran on the fire track for the first part, and it's really nice. And you come up this little fire track, and you get onto this. It looks quite good on Google Maps, and it was about 2 miles of peat. I was like, my leg was going knee deep in peat, and I was. She said, "You can just wear normal." Peat's like the moss on the side of the road. Peat's what they
lovely.
Yeah, so that's what they use to, like, burn in whiskey and stuff to make it, like, peated and smoky. And so it's a bog, yeah. And so anyway, I wore the Super Blast in the long run because it was perfect for the fire track and everything, and up and down the hills. And I got to the peat bog, and it was just. And once you go knee deep into one peat bog, you just accept it for every other one because you can't get any worse than that. So yeah, but it is tough here.
What shoes is Grandma wearing?
Well, a couple of varieties, but to be honest, what do you think she wears when she does her walk in the morning?
I got her gumboots.
Yeah, she's got Dunlop, like, welly boots that go up to her knees.
Yeah, yep. That's so Scotland. You been to the pub yet down there?
Mate, I've been to every pub. I've had a Guinness, at least 6 Guinnesses in 6 different pubs so far. Been there for 6 days.
How about the whiskey?
Yeah, whiskey. I've actually got a bottle here, but I bought it from the local, touristy shop, and it cost way more than what it would at Dan Murphy's. So anyway, but while I was in
Dan
there,
Murphy's.
Well, it was just. No, I didn't go to Dan Murphy's. So it would have cost way more than what I would have got at Dan Murphy's. So I ended up paying about £85, about 2 to 1 to the Australian dollar for something I could have got a lot cheaper. But I love the Isla ones, all the peated ones. I'm not sure what you guys are like, but anything peaty I love.
I actually don't really like those ones. I like the pussy ones. I like the real sweet. I like the real sweet drink.
The Japanese ones, probably.
Yeah, that's
I think I'm about 10 years off you blokes yet. I'm not old enough to be drinking whiskey.
You're not cultured enough, more like it.
Yeah.
You live in the Shire.
Hey. Leave the Shire alone.
All right, boys. Yeah. We're on here to talk shoes and running shoes in particular. So why don't we go through a little bit about what we've been doing? Nida, you're on the big screen right now. So talk us through your running for the last. Just give us a quick 6-month rundown on what you've been doing.
Yeah. Look, about last November, I developed a small Achilles niggle, and I sort of ran my way through it. It ended up being like a paratendinopathy, where the membrane of the Achilles gets a bit swollen, all the fat surrounding gets a bit sore and swollen. So it wasn't in the early days. It was one of those tendons that didn't warm up, and I'm at a stage now, 6 months down the track, where the tendon's warming up pretty well. I missed probably a couple of weeks of running, but not too much. And I've missed a lot of intensity. So I haven't done a workout realistically since about February, but I've got back into about 70, close to 80K. I'll be 80Ks a week running this week, and mainly doing easy runs. And I'll actually do my first workout today, I think, would be an easy one. But I've been, building my volume back up and managing an Achilles niggle, mid-portion tendinopathy, and it's come up good. I think people sometimes, when they get tendinopathies, they think you've got to stop running. I think you need to minimize your running, but you have to have expectations you're going to carry it for a while. I think that's the problem with sometimes people think you can get rid of these things pretty quickly, but I overcooked it in the end of summer. I did a lot of track work and stuff before the track season, and really got to run one pro race, and that was it, consequently. So Whereas now it feels pretty good. It warms up within, half a kilometer and I'm good to go. I can climb without any issues and stuff. And so I've found a couple series of shoes been really advantageous for it as well. So like I spent a fair bit of time in the early days. I could run in the version 1 Super Comp trainer.
Mm-hmm.
That was the sweet spot shoe for the Achilles. It had like a really high stack. The rocker went a long way back. It had a very flimsy upper on it. As you guys remember, the heel counter wasn't very locked down, but that was quite good and never put pressure on the tendon. So I could handle a fair bit of running in that shoe, even with the tendinopathy. So it has been hard to find a shoe to replace that one. Like I'm gone through them now. And even the V2, which I do have, is a bit, it doesn't act quite the same. The rocker's a bit further away. It's probably a better shoe more than likely, but it's a bit more irritable on the Achilles. And then when the Neo Vista arrived, I was very surprised to find that this shoe surprisingly offloaded my Achilles pretty well. And I know we'll talk about this through the day, but like, I know they use it. They're called their, what do they call it? Technology, their speed roll technology, similar, not speed roll. They call it, what's that? You would know the name for it, Julian. It's sort of speed assist, where they basically, I've got the shoe through here. They'll put the rocker at the rear and they'll put the rocker at the forefoot. So the bit that you hit on the shoe the most ends up being the midfoot. So I can imagine if you're a big rear foot striker and you hit the heel, you probably load your Achilles more. But because I hit so biased to the forefoot, this shoe still makes me hit the midfoot. So surprisingly, it's offloading my Achilles because I'm sitting back on the shoe a touch more. So I've been running in this shoe, and obviously the upper of the shoe has been quite flimsy, but it's a really compliant midsole, isn't it, guys? Like it's one of the softest midsoles you'll put your foot in. They put the nylon plate through it. They use their the Neo Vista Next. Is it the Mizuno Energy Next midsole? And it's
isn't it like a glass plate?
No, it's nylon. Believe it or not.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So it's a nylon plate. That's what it says on the website. So yeah, look, it's. I don't think I've found a shoe where I don't feel the road any less, I reckon. So I've been doing all my easy runs predominantly in that one, and the past couple of weeks I've moved into shoes that are a bit more enjoyable, again a bit firmer under the midsole. And you won't love this, Julian, but you'll love it, Tom. It's I've moved into wearing this for a few of my up tempo sort of runs now that I'm starting to get a bit faster. I've been wearing the Boston 12. I've actually had it for a while. I just never really wore it. I never really saw the need for it. The midsole of the shoe has the Light Strike Pro on the top, and it's got the Light Strike 2.0 on the base through here. When you put it on the foot, it feels firmer than other sort of shoes in this category, but it is very responsive. The rocker is well placed. The surface area on the base of the forefoot's really wide. It's probably not as wide in the midfoot and the rear foot, so it could be a bit less stable for someone who hits further back on the shoe. Use the carbon rods in the shoe, which make it stiff. But it, after about 100 Ks, it felt pretty soft underfoot within a couple kilometers when you first start wearing it. So it did take a while to knock in. But I had one complaint with the shoe. I feel like the upper's a bit papery. It's a bit cheap. I can feel almost every seam and every sort of, deviation in there. The Achilles count is a little bit niggly as well in terms of being a bit pokey. I've heard rumors that the Boston 13, they might clean that up, and that would be a big, big change, because I really think the midsole of this shoe, the Boston 12, is an absolute winner. But I think the upper probably lets it down a little bit. So, but as a shoe, which I can get out the door and pick the pace up, for example, this categorically is a shoe that goes well slow, but probably goes a little bit better when it goes a bit quicker. So it's been the perfect shoe for me transitioning into like pickup runs and tempos, etc. since I've been coming back. And I actually think the firmness of the shoe is good for the Achilles as well. I don't sort of, you hit a harder shoe, your tendon doesn't have to act quite as stiff either. So.
Wait, so how many shoes have you brought to Scotland? Because you've already shown us 3.
Yeah, so I brought the Trabuco Max as well, the second version, as a trail shoe. The reason is because there's a lot of fire track here as well. So I thought that the midsole I really like of the Trabuco Max. But it's probably just like on the really small, narrow trails, it's just too high stack still, I think, to be a really good trail shoe in some of the fell areas here. So it's a tough one. I haven't really found a trail shoe that I love. Because if I'm picking a trail shoe, I'm probably picking a route which is partially, fell, partially trail, and partially road. And so this shoe works well on the road, I'd argue, and it works well on the fire tracks, but it's still a little bit ordinary when you get to the technical single trail. So I know you mentioned, Julian, you'd prefer various shoes over this one. And you mentioned this a long time back. Probably the biggest irritable thing is that when you go down a big 10% decline, like the toe box is pretty firm ending when you hit the edge of the shoe. So it's not it's protective, but it's just a little bit uncomfortable at the toes.
I reckon the sweet spot for that one surely is a nice smooth trail, but a wet trail.
Yeah,
you get the benefit of the traction, but
it's great traction, isn't it? Yeah, great traction. That Asics grip's fantastic. So
I've been wearing it a lot actually, that shoe, because it was been when I had that shin pain leading into Sydney or Osaka, not Sydney, sorry, Osaka. It was one of the only shoes I could run in that I wouldn't feel my shin at all. So I'm not exactly sure why, whether it was the rocker or whether it was because it was so stable because of the width of the shoe, but I ended up putting a fair few Ks in it, and I've gone back to it now with...
It's a good geometry. It's a good geometry shoe. Just a few details of the upper and stuff just probably could be cleaned up, I reckon. But you have more technical trail. As soon as you would get 3.5 centimeters off the ground, it's tricky to wear that on the technical trails.
I just don't. I don't go anywhere near a single track with it. I've got other shoes for that, and I don't. They've got lost with that shoe when they made it, because surely they realize that's not a technical trail shoe, but yet they make an upper on the upper is like a really dialed in mountain type shoe upper, but they've put it on a trail cruiser. They kind of need to read the room a little bit, I reckon, to who's going to be wearing that and who's buying it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Have either of you tried the or seen that new racing trail shoe from Asics?
We're getting it soon. Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
I've just seen a sample of it. I don't know. It sounds good having a turbo foam in a trail shoe.
Yeah. So the shoe's called where are we here? I've just Metafuji Trail. It's called. And it looks really cool. Like, I'm not sure how much I'll wear that thing, but I'm definitely getting a pair. Like, I just think it'll be so fun on single track where you're just whipping around corners and we'll see how the fit is. The fit is make or break on trails.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah. If you get the wrong fit and you go down a 10-minute downhill and your toes get smashed or whatever happened, you slip too much, then you're not going to wear it next time you run. So
and I reckon this is where I haven't found a trail shoe that I really love. It's been purely the fit of the upper doesn't match the terrain of the shoe for some particular reason. If I do find one where it matches the terrain, there's not enough midsole or something like that for running it faster, etc., on a fire trail. So it is hard to find the sweet spot.
And I wonder if in the brand design levels, rooms, factories, whatever, the key designers, the big dogs, they work on the big projects, whether it's like the franchise type shoes or the performance product, and then the trail shoes maybe get the entry level designers, or the apprentice maybe gets the trail shoe. I don't know for sure, but
I don't know either.
I'm just hypothesizing here that perhaps that could happen. I've been running a lot of trail. I might as well talk about that now too. I've got a shoe in front of me. It's the first shoe that I've bought for myself, because you can't get it in Australia in a very long time, and it arrived today while I was at work. I'll see if you guys know what it is. I'm going to show you in the camera.
It's not a Wildhorse, is it?
It's a Wildhorse. Good job.
Yeah.
They stopped bringing them in Australia. Can't buy them.
Really?
Can't get them. Can't order them.
Yeah.
So this is it now. This is the Wildhorse. I had to get it from Nike.
I know you've always suggested the Terracotta, but the Wildhorse is like a slightly more, high stack, more mileage based shoe equivalent to it, wasn't it? But I haven't seen a Wildhorse for ages. Yeah,
they've gone through different iterations of being very close to one another within the trail family, where you could barely tell much difference, and then very different to one another as well. And it's never really found its comfort zone or its sitting point. And I was hoping this shoe here would be a slightly higher pitch, a little bit more cushion Terracotta, because I've been loving the Terracotta, but it's 4 mil offset. It's pretty flexible. It's got React foam, so it's firm, and there's not much of it. So I've done a long run. I went 24K in it last week. It's about the limit for me for that type of shoe. But I thought, I'll check this Wildhorse out, and I'll give this a crack. And I think putting it on, it feels kind of what I'm after. I wouldn't have minded a bit more flex. It's still pretty stiff. I reckon that'll give over time a little bit because it's got no plate or anything in it. But one of the differences, and when we talk about outer soles, we normally just talk about the traction they've got, but they can really change the dynamic of a shoe if they use this one-piece rubber versus breaking it into flex grooves and little patches. You get a lot more flex in the shoe if you're not putting a big outer sole slab on the bottom. Kind of like this one. This one has it's got a little bit of give. You can sort of see through this flex groove here that comes down the shoe, and a little bit at the back corner to give a little bit of sort of contortion on the trail, but still a bit stiff for my liking for a trail shoe. I think a good trail shoe, a good technical shoe should
just show us the top of the upper. Show us the top of the upper, face down. Would you say, Tommy, you'd agree with this, that Nike, they're just getting a little bit more anatomical with their forefoot now these days?
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it for a while. It still looks like they're still doing it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Love that.
Yeah, that peg, they might the Peg 41, the new one, that's built on, it's still on that MR10, is it MR10? They call it, that last shape that they've got. But they're definitely making a little bit more generous uppers. The Terracotta fits me perfectly. I put this on, no pinching whatsoever. It's got a really nice upper. It's super thin still. It's not trying to be real technical.
Geez, you must be going well wearing that shoe for 24Ks. You must be back being tough again.
Yeah, well, I did go and buy another shoe because it was a bit aggressive. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to take it out tomorrow. I'm going to take it out and I'll report back. You can follow my Strava.
Well, tell us about your race, mate, because you ran a half marathon. You're a champion again.
I'm the best runner on this podcast over the last 2 weeks for sure. I'm the only one with a medal around my neck. I got a finish line photo winning with my kid.
I did see.
And the new sponsorship as well. Don't forget that.
Oh, New Balance.
The on kit. No. You had the on kit on.
Oh, I wore a t-shirt. I wore an on t-shirt.
Yeah.
It was a full on kit, mate.
I wore an on t-shirt. I wore Lululemon.
Congrats.
Lululemon shorts. I had on some Swiftwick socks, and I wore New Balance shoes. So I'm very much a spotty. I'm not loyal to anybody, but that was the best t-shirt that I had. I went through all my t-shirts. I'm like, this is the best one. So that's the one that I wore.
So why no singlet?
No,
it's a trail race.
Flex a little bit harder, Tommy.
Flex, yeah. So I was waiting for that answer. That's the correct answer.
It was pretty cold. I had on all my singlets. This is a bit of a stab at the industry. There's very few singlets out there with a nice cut at the moment. Those Nike ones are terrible. The Nike Aero Swift, they are so shit. I'm just in between sizes all over the place. I buy a large, it's floppy. I buy a medium, it's like a crop top.
Yeah. The length is just crazy.
Length is an issue, isn't it? The length is an issue with the Nike tops. Yeah.
So
go.
They brought a new one out, and it's supposed to be longer, but it's still got the same issue, I reckon. It's still not perfect. No. And I'm not sure how you can be Nike and get this so wrong.
The pro kit must be different. It is, surely.
Yeah. Are they not testing it? Who have they got? Like a bunch of 5 foot bloody Kenyans testing it, saying this is perfect.
Yeah, with 6 foot long legs. No torso and just legs, mate. That's what.
Yeah.
Did you see the Li Ning photo shoot of their new kit in Kenya?
No.
You didn't see that?
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
Who they got?
It was all over socials, mate. Oh, they had a bunch of about 8 Kenyans wearing a new pair of their racing shoes, but it was the kit that everyone was talking about. It was ridiculous.
It looked like a Vogue
Check it out.
or some sort of Vogue catwalk or something. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I wore that for that trail race. I wore the New Balance Super Comp Trail, which is a real niche shoe. You don't really see that very often. We had it in store. We struggled to sell it. It's too expensive for what it was.
Now walk us through it. Is that the same last and the same geometry as the Super Comp Trainer V2?
Nah. No. Oh, it's definitely not the same geometry. It's less foam. It's firmer foam. The best thing about it, well, two great things. The fit, I really like the fit. So it's quite dialed through the rear foot, no slip in the heel. And up front, it's fairly generous. So perfect fit for me. The toe cap on it is probably a little shallow still, but I can deal. But it uses Vibram Light Base. And Vibram Light Base is just the best outer sole that you can imagine. It is so light, but it's also so tacky. That is gold standard at the moment for me in trail. Like I look at this Wildhorse, it costs $190. It's not using Vibram. Like it's their own rubber, and I'm not expecting the same level of traction here that I am as what I get from that Super Comp. But that thing was snappy. It was pretty fast. I don't bomb downhills because my knees hurt too much and my ankles are shit. So I don't need a shoe that's like going to facilitate me jumping off cliffs. I just need something that can go quicker on the flat stuff, which is what I got. It was perfect. Pulled up real sore from it though, especially my calves. Like it's not rocket enough, but it's quite stiff. So it probably just needs a bit more rocket to it. But anyway,
a little bit like the Ultrafly. I remember you saying that about the
agreed.
The Ultrafly,
yeah. Just feels
that's
flat.
Another shoe with some issues. Yeah, that's got some.
Actually, speaking of flat, have you guys tried the new 31st version of the Kayano?
No,
I got a sample. Haven't. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit my foot.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like the midsole, they've got rid of the concavity laterally, Julian, so it doesn't compress laterally as much, which is probably a huge advantage. So it makes it more stable.
But
for some reason, So from the 30, it's not exactly the same midsole. They've changed the geometry a bit, and they've filled in that lateral column attach, so it's not quite as soft. And it doesn't feel like it's a different density of it's got this nice glazed midsole on the outside. It feels a little bit firmer when you poke it, but underfoot it feels the same. But I just it feels like I have to hit the shoe as one flat unit. Like I can't heel strike on it, and I can't forefoot strike on it. It feels quite slappy. They haven't quite got the rocker correct, or they haven't quite got the amount of shoe with the rocker geometry correct or something. So I'm not 100% sure how that shoe is going to go. But
surely that's not your shoe for you though.
I was thinking that
absolutely
not your shoe,
but it's just even trying to heel strike in the shoe, like you heel strike and it just sort of the forefoot slaps a lot. It's a very loud shoe. So when you guys get it, I'd love to hear your opinions on that.
Sounds like it's reverting back to the 29s.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but it's still high off the ground.
I think you've nailed. Like this is a classic example though of why shoe reviews are so personal and people shouldn't buy into them. You got Nitto, the bloke is skinny little unit, like not a muscle on him, and he runs on his toes like up, like just plantar flex to the shit house. And you don't touch the heel. You probably do. How's your range of motion? Like you big everter, big pronator?
Nah, minimal of either.
Yeah, like. You should not feel good in the Kayano 30.
No, I don't love to say that.
Or the 31.
But if it has a rocker in the forefoot, I should get some enjoyment out of hitting the rocker in the forefoot of that shoe. And it still doesn't quite work. Where the Nimbus, for example, I don't hit the back of the Nimbus either. But the Nimbus feels fantastic. So it is more compliant midsole. The rocker goes a little bit further back. And,
it's less slappy because it's softer. Yeah.
It's pretty much it. Just softer. Yeah.
But get someone on that's 50% heavier than you, so they weigh 60 kilos or something, and then add a rear foot strike, and that shoe might work. Like, and then you're going to have someone review it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why you're on here, Julian. You're on here to cover mediocre gait. So that's
Someone's got to do it because
Yeah.
not everyone runs like a little pixie. It's certainly not
Anyway.
Tommy. Tommy looks good. He looks better than a pixie, and he looks better than mediocre gait. So,
doesn't the world know about it now? He's got so much Instagram videos made just for Tommy DeCanto now.
How nauseating was that one down in Ballarat?
Yeah, I liked it. I'm a big Tommy fan still. I enjoyed it. I think
Gary Howard telling everyone he's going to run 2.7, break the Australian record.
2.7, no,
in Ballarat.
There was a discussion of altitude in Ballarat as well.
There was a little bit of ambition, maybe slightly excessive ambition, but
you had the day for it.
It was a good day. There's no excuses on that day.
Tell us about it. I'm not sure we heard outside the Netflix doco that they made.
Yeah, it honestly feels like such a long time ago. When was the last time we recorded? Was it?
I think it was February or March. I reckon. I don't even know.
I guess I guess we could chat about that race, which was exciting, was my little collection I got from you the day before the race, Julian.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Remember that?
Yes.
So I was I guess I'll take a step back. I've gone off the Vaporfly 3 a little bit. I found it maybe it's gone too far, too soft. And so I probably sound like, the what's the word? The princess and the pea. But yeah, it's almost like I feel like the Vaporfly 3, after a period of time, it does reach sort of an end point. It sort of bottoms out. It just feels a little bit soft and wobbly. So I was pleasantly surprised that, honestly, the new the shoe that I got was the Metaspeed Edge Paris. So this guy. So this is the latest one from Asics after the Plus series, which I had as well. I had both the Sky and the Edge in that. I went down to the running company in Ballarat, and I tried on both the Sky and the Edge, and they both felt like a big upgrade from the Plus series. Just softer foam, lighter, a little bit smoother, not as slappy, just softer and bouncier. But I could still slightly feel the plate in the forefoot on the Sky. And I don't necessarily want to feel the plate. I just like to feel the softness of the foam. So they didn't have my size, so I messaged Julian, and he brought me down a pair. So I banked on my experience of using super shoes and hoped that I didn't make a stupid decision. Like, I would never advise anyone to do this, but I decided to wear that shoe the next day after literally doing a few strides in it.
You warm up in it?
No. Well, I did some strides the night before and the morning of. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good from you.
Yeah, it's silly. But it felt great. Like, so basically it felt natural. It felt light, soft, bouncy. That's all the things I would say that it sort of felt subjectively. And I think just the new foam is an update. It's softer and bouncier. Geometry feels like a Vaporfly geometry, but I just think they've just nailed the foam a bit better. That balance of softness and response. It doesn't feel like it bottoms out in any way at any point. It's not.
Have you seen that footage going around where they dropped the ball through the tube on the back of
I saw it today. I saw that today.
The Sky Plus and the new Meta, the Paris.
What do you think about that? What do you think about that experiment?
It's interesting. It's probably not going to necessarily relate to, you can't relate it to like running economy or anything like it's related to performance, but I guess you're looking at material properties. I guess it is more responsive. If that ball is going to hit and bounce higher, I guess you are still looking at it more at least in that test, it's more responsive.
As the ball weight changes, it probably changes a bit as well. Probably gets a bit closer. I'm not sure, but it still shows an example of how it reacts to the same external load. So it's a difference. Yeah.
What about the videos they do where they like spring the shoe?
Nah,
And
hate
then
that.
Nah.
No, I hate that because there's so much variability. Like that pisses me off.
How much
You know what? You can't control that. Yeah, that's so annoying. Like, you know that there's that insole ad which I got fed for so many years. That bloody Victory insole, carbon insole. Oh man, that was. And then I even had some of the Patience and Swans players were asking me about. Can I get this insole? Yeah, no, but it does feel more responsive. So maybe the ball test is correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that the last time you ran, Tommy?
I've been sick 3 times since then. That's so bad. Last
you break
time
all
I
the
was
rules,
sick,
though, Tom. Like you ran 100 miles one week, 60 the next week, and then 180
my
the
Strava
week
looks
after.
disgusting. Yeah, it looks so bad.
Yeah.
It's all over the shop. I got a new watch, and then it's like telling me, it's just telling me to stop running. I'm overtraining, and I'm like, just shut up.
The watch is not your friend. We don't love the watch.
No,
the watch is bad news.
We don't listen to watch.
Hmm.
So I somewhere in there, I had a little bit of a tib post irritation. Not load related, of course. But I decided to wean off some of my high stackers, and I was looking for just something a little bit like just traditional geometry. So I went down a little pathway of trying a few models. So I got a pair of New Balance 880s.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got a pair. Well, so yeah, I got some gear from Tracksmith. So they have like an amateur support program. So they sent me like a whole bunch of stuff. They do one training shoe called the Elliot Trainer. It's an expensive shoe, right? So I think you said, Julian, it's like $350 maybe Aussie dollars. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, $350. Yeah. So it's just a daily trainer, very simple daily trainer. To be honest, it worked out really well for me because that was the kind of shoe I wanted at that point in time. Just a simple, traditional geometry, like 10 mil pitch, moderately cushioned and stable. But it's actually quite flexible. I'll show you here. It's
compare it to a peg.
It's softer, more enjoyable than a peg in the sense that it's. I've only tried on the 31. I haven't got a pair, but
41.
It just
41. You mean?
Sorry, 41. So this is it. This is the Elliot
Turbo. Looks peg turbo type.
Yeah. Yes, I would describe this as closer to a peg turbo than a peg, and it is probably as well with the technical specs. So it's got, interestingly, and I know there's other brands. I was going to ask you actually what you think of of Kilian Jornet's brand, the normal, because he's just brought out a model that has like 3 of these drop-in insoles.
Oh yeah.
As the midsole. So what they do with this one is it's like a hybrid. Like probably about 1/3 of the midsole is the insole, and then the rest is here. So this is actually quite a substantial part of the cushioning. This insole.
Yeah.
And it's PBA. So this is real soft, real bouncy, and I've done quite a few Ks in this, and it still feels like real soft and real bouncy. That's why I think, like, durability wise, like how many Ks I've done in these shoes, which is probably over 500 now, and it's this shoe feels good, and then like just it's not bottoming out in any way. This thickness of foam, and then they've got the midsole here is like apparently a nitrogen infused EVA. So it's quite bouncy as well. This one. And so there's no stiffening elements, and it's just this outsole and geometry reminds me of the Reebok Float Ride.
Oh, that's the exact shoe that I need to run.
Look at this.
Wear out,
look
Tommy.
At this.
You gotta wear it out.
It looks like a Triumph, or like an old Triumph.
Yeah, a little bit like Triumph. Yeah.
Through the middle section.
But yeah, super flexible, light. Yeah. So to be honest, like it is borderline too flexible as a daily trainer, I think, for probably most people potentially. But if you like a flexible shoe, like a lot of people did love the Peg Turbo for all sorts of different types of runs, easy runs, up tempo, whatever, long runs. So I've done. What's the longest? I haven't done a long run in this shoe, but I've done probably 20K. is the longest I've done midweek in it, and then
so
lots of
you're just
ease.
managing the tip post with just the lower stack shoe, not like a wide, because that's not a wide surface area. That's relatively
Just lower stack and traditional geometry with a big heel pitch. Because one shoe that did, I think, kind of a long run in a shoe that I'd only worn a couple of times before. It was the and like I tell people it's stable. Like I think technically it should act stable for most people. It's the New Balance Super Comp Elite 4. So I know it's a racing shoe, but because it's not that soft, I thought it'd be okay for a long run. And like towards the end of the long run, I just felt like my extensor tendons were sore and my arch was a bit achy. And it's like, I never get that in a long run. Like, so I don't know. It didn't quite gel.
Funny, like categorically, I found that shoe to feel very similar, like economy wise, to like Super Blast, but the shoe just felt a little bit. The uppers maybe not quite as stable. Perhaps you can move a bit more on top of the platform. Perhaps,
maybe. I think it's the channel that they have down the middle and the two independent columns that creates instability when one column's compressing and the other isn't. And that if you do that to a shoe, it creates a lot of bounce back. I think.
Bounce back.
That pillar can compress and recompress or decompress, but then. It creates like I'm sinking in that, and my perineal is having to stabilize me or load a lot more as I sink laterally and sort of supinate into that foam. So I'm just going through a greater range of motion, I think, in it when that happens. But you get a bit more back from it, Like I've got a shoe here that I'll just show you quickly. This is a small example of it. But you see the way that sort of has those columns. Just you're going to get a little bit more give because that'll go down independent. But you've still got filled in, like it's still pretty much filled in the whole way, so it's way more stable than you think.
Well, how have you guys found the Neo Vista with the large segmentation from one side to the other? Because that's a deep segment, isn't it?
I've not worn it for that reason.
Show everyone that, Nita, in your little.
I just too scared to try.
This is the segment. It goes all the way through the shoe from top to bottom. The cavity or the hole is probably down, I don't know, it's not an inch, but it's probably close to 1.5, 2 centimeters. And then, it's a wide surface area from side to side, but with the cutout through here. Look, I don't find it unstable at the front of the foot, but there's definitely more fill in. But I guess if you sit further back on the shoe, it does. And because the upper also is not locked down, this shoe can feel a bit unstable for sure. So... but it's a real sagittal plain shoe. It's just built to go back and forth, not side to side. So,
well, that's what I complained about it. I remember running. I put it on, ran down a 2K hill, and just probably dropped 100 meters down 2K, and it just felt horrible to me. I felt landing lateral, sinking lateral.
I can imagine that.
The knit upper wasn't handling that force. And then when I got to the bottom of the hill, it felt way better.
Yeah, absolutely. When you climb, it feels really good because you hit more of the forefoot as well. The surface area is better. The upper acts better. Yeah, don't know. You're right.
If you load shoes centrally, if you load them nicely and evenly, then that shoe will feel totally fine. That shoe will feel amazing.
It's interesting because Tommy loads everything pretty down the middle, don't you? So that New Balance, maybe you just went too long with it.
I don't know. Yeah, definitely did because I only done a few short runs in it.
What about, have you got the Mizuno, Tom?
No, I've got the Neo Vista. I just haven't run in it.
You haven't run in it?
No, because I got it around this time when my tip post was a bit irritable. So I just...
just take a risk, mate.
You're running a fucking 600 Ks on those Tracksmith.
I'm not going to bloody risk flaring an injury just to chat about a shoe on the pod, all right?
No, you're going to get a head cold anyway. You might as well risk it. Get a bit of time off.
Jeez, I've had a lot of deload this couple of months. You know what shoe I've really enjoyed, and I mentioned it to you Nina the other day, and you weren't too fussed about it. But I've got the Adidas Supernova Rise.
Yeah.
I've only done a handful of runs in it, but I really like it. Really like it.
Have you tried the SL? Have you tried the Adidas SL?
I've just tried it on an in-store.
Okay.
And it felt a bit firm.
Got it. Well, the second version, they get a bit of an upgrade with the light strip. The midsole becomes a bit softer.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a good update, to be honest. It's just the papery uppers. What's the upper like on the Rise? Yeah,
it's nice and yeah, it's luxe.
Yeah.
It's like plush. It's padded. It's it's a
what you
daily
want.
trainer upper. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not. It's
okay.
not like the other performance Adi Zero line. This is their new like Dream Strike line. So I think they're doing something similar to Asics with like the whole comfort filter, just trying to make objective like what people find comfortable, and apparently they've made this range off that.
I think that sort of the padded or slightly more compliant up as part of my comfort filter for sure. So, but that's Oh, look, that's good. I mean, look, Julian probably hates talking about Adidas, but it looks like if they can nail this next line of daily trainers.
Why are you saying that?
You always want to talk them down. You don't want to talk about them at all.
That's because no one runs in them. No one jogs.
Because he doesn't sell them.
No one jogs in Adidas. Find me someone who jogs in Adidas.
Tommy jogs in Adidas.
I
jog in Adidas. Yeah.
English people that live in Australia.
Yeah. Do you remember the podcast the girls did? She was talking about her shoe line. Wasn't it?
Yeah, Lana's she's pumped for the next episode. She wants to jump on and like.
If she's anything like you, though, she'll be on holiday somewhere. We won't be able to tie her down for that.
No, she's keen. She got a taste of it.
Do you know what? The shoe we got shown Adidas a while back, and there was a shoe there that I really liked. It was called their something Workhorse. I think it was called the Supernova Workhorse. Maybe I'm not sure if it's out yet. I remember that name, thinking, they've just pretty much named it what they wanted to be. It's a weird concept. I hated the name, but I also thought, well, makes sense. That was the best shoe that I saw in their range. I'm not sure if it's released yet. Let me look. That could be the second shoe I buy. Adidas Workhorse.
What's the other Adi one you've got?
Well, you've seen the prototype photos of the fourth Adi Zero Pro. Oh, mate!
Look at here, boys.
It looks a little bit like the Evo one. Yeah.
This came today.
No Workhorse on the website yet.
Did you miss that shoe?
I missed it, Tommy. Go back. Oh, he's got it.
I got it.
Yeah. So he's got everyone who's listening and not watching.
Didn't matter how sick I was going to be tonight. I was going to come on to just show off this bad boy.
Oh, put it up close. Make it closer. Swirl it around. Do a 360 view.
Swirl it around.
Look at that.
The shiny. Check out this shiny outsole.
Yeah,
it's wild.
It's like a 10-pin bowling shoe.
So this outsole, can you see how thin it is? It is unbelievably thin. This outsole. It's like it's almost like it's not there. Like if you press on the outsole, it feels like you're just going straight into the midsole.
It's like an adhesive stuck on.
Yeah, it is. And if you go through here, you can just feel each individual rod. Like it's so soft, you can just find each rod. So it's like I'm palpating a metatarsal for a stressy. It's lovely.
You'll be bottoming that out, Nido. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, I need. Yeah, what?
I've heard it isn't as it's very soft, but it's not maybe as responsive, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't run in it. I mean, I have run in it. I've done a couple of strides because I was excited. So, to be honest, it feels really, really good. Because I've heard some people saying, "Oh, there's no it's good. It's a super shoe, but there's no wow factor. The wow factor is the weight." But it does feel extremely bouncy. It's still got the magic foam. It's the bounce, and the rocker is what's interesting. Like it's very rocketed, and as they say, like they made the rocker a bit earlier than the Pro, which I think is good. Like you can feel it just transitioning quicker, which makes it because when I stood in the shoe, it felt a little bit negative drop, but then it's just such an easy transition. As soon as you start to shift a bit of weight onto the forefoot, it just starts to roll and rock onto the forefoot.
Stiff. Give it a flex for us.
It's stiff. I was surprised how stiff it is. Like it's.
Yeah. Got it.
I can't. So that's actually. I don't want to.
Don't break it. Don't snap.
I'm scared. I'm gonna break it, but that's going pretty hard.
You can't see the rods, but I've got the Boston 3 here. This is a little bit like they usually expose the rods a little bit visibly, but it's good that it's stiff. I thought it might be a bit flexier as well, but they've hit the nail.
The upper as well. So check this. Basically see through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that
like a
so I weighed it.
It's a glad wrap on the top.
the fit. So it's got no insole, and I don't know if that's affecting the fit, but it does fit true to size or slightly big for me, which is perfect because I could only get a 12 US.
40 mil at the back?
It's 39, so it's a 39 to 33, I believe. Let me have a look. I wrote it down. It's 39 to 33, 6 mil drop. I paid a small sum of $750 for this bad boy.
Oh, you are so rich.
No holidays for a while, mate.
Yeah, Lana. I couldn't believe I got it past Lana. She signed off on it.
Lucky it was Adidas.
Adidas.
Yeah, exactly.
So with this foam, they've essentially took this out the oven midway through.
I was going to ask you, because I have a little bit of an idea, but not much about the difference between this and the standard compression molded way. So what do you know about it?
Well, it undergoes high pressure, high heat kind of treatment, and they normally sort of pressurize it, heat it to a certain point, and then in a lot of foams they recompress it so that it's not just like this big marshmallow, and it actually has a little bit more resilience sometimes, and definitely more durability. But with this one, they sort of get to that point, and then they just skive the shape of it, so they don't do any sort of recompression to it, and you end up with it's a half-cooked shoe. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so light, and that's why you can feel through it, because it hasn't had any recompression after the supercritical treatment it got.
Which means you're probably not going to quite get as much out of this shoe, Tommy.
You won't get anywhere near as much out of it. Yeah.
What do you mean? How much should I get out of it?
Remember you wore your old Vaporfly ones? Remember you got close to 800 Ks out of one pair of your Vaporfly ones? Your first pair?
Yeah, I got a lot out of that shoe. No, I don't expect I'm going to get 800K out of it. But I'm a little bit worried. I don't know what to use it for because I don't want to waste it.
Only.
Yeah. Obviously, I've always used. But which races? That's the question.
Well, you got to get into the Olympics now. Oh wait, they've picked the team already. Maybe next Olympics, Tom.
Thanks, mate.
Next Olympics, hold it for that.
I reckon.
Hey, I got a shoe. I got a shoe here. It's called the Cloud Boom Strike.
Yeah.
This comes.
It looks super pitched. It looks very pitched. Tell us about it.
Isn't this the one coming out next month?
Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. Well, don't get me started on this. I'm not happy about what's going on here, but let's move on from that.
What's it for and etc.
Check that out.
Here we go. Another one of these drop-ins.
Drop-in.
Jeez. Yeah.
See in there? See the plate. Basically, the drop-in sits on top of the plate. Now, I spoke to our friend Jordan, who I said, "Tell me, Jordo, what's the biggest benefit to this?" He gave me a very concise answer. I loved it. He said, I'm going to read it out word for word because he is very good at his job. This is Jordan Donnelly, he's head of performance at On Running. There's no non-performing materials in there, like a strobel board, reinforcements, glue, sock liners, etc., which accumulate to add about 8 mil of stack. When you only have at 40 mil limit, then 8 mil is huge. We reinvest all that back into the foam. Then there is the double midsole. It's like jumping on two independent trampolines.
Yeah.
So much impact removed from the body.
Yep.
So very clever from those guys. They got rid of all the excess stuff, and we're maximizing the amount of foam we're using in the shoe. And it's so soft. Like getting rid of all the glue and everything, the shoe is so spongy under the forefoot, especially where you can see that real drop in. Yeah,
that's what I want to hear. I got to have this. It's forefoot.
It's so soft under there.
Finally, they got a soft super shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally different to the last, like that other one. Don't forget about it. Like it's different. Yeah. This here is something different. It feels really light underfoot. I'm not sure of the specs or anything at the moment. The upper is a little bit plasticky, I think. Like I reckon they can soften that. You can sort of see it there. It's a little bit crinkly, a little bit crunchy. You can even hear it.
Yeah, but that's the weight though, right? They're trying to keep that weight down, aren't they?
Trying to keep Yeah, but there's a point where comfort overrides weight, I reckon.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
And especially in the marathon. And then I got a little bit of pinching. You can actually see, if you kind of look, that's where the inner sole,
the guard,
it's up there. And that's the inner sole you're looking at. Well, it's the inner sole and the foam.
Yeah.
So I got a bit of a pinch point right there. But that's dissipated as I've kept using it. So
there's like a negative sidewall.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all foam right there. And that's what gives, and you sort of sink into that there. You can see.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah. That's good.
They got good foam. They've done the channels well.
What have you done in it so far? Have you gone short or long or?
I've jogged in it. I've done a 20-minute fartlek of just 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and I've done threshold reps on the treadmill. So
how was it?
It was good. Yeah, I felt it very soft. It's the softest super shoe I've ever owned. Like, it's the most I've sunk into a super shoe. I do think you'll like it, Nitta.
4 foot cushion being super soft, and that's that. Can you just pull out the Strobel again one more time? How much they put in the 4 foot? How much they put in the rear foot there? A fair bit in the 4 foot.
So I'm assuming the sole in the shoe, the midsole in the shoe is slightly firmer. So there's more of the firmer stuff at the heel. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, it does feel like that, and there's a plate that sits. You can sort of see this. It's hard to sort of. It will actually be glued in the actual model, or not. Maybe a slight bit of glue, so you won't get any of the slip that you could potentially worry about with that. Look how high it sits there. You can see it sort of translucent through the shoe.
Is this on model the same, or is this the commercial version of the one that Helen Abiri wore with the slipper?
The printed upper,
3D printed upper.
I think they have a few different midsoles that they go between, and they can tweak them slightly. And
they've done some good stuff recently, haven't they? Like even the spike you guys saw on the track. I don't know if you guys saw it. Geez, that looked like it was 35
that spike far out. The heel on it looked like about 40 mil on the spike. It was insane.
We're going to get Jordan on when the Olympics hit, because they've got some really cool initiatives going on that they can't talk about right now that'll play out over Paris, and that'll be a good time.
Geez, they're using the athlete feedback so well, aren't they? Like that's just
with those,
they said that from day one.
With those drop-ins, surely now it's easier for them to tailor. Say they could tune a drop-in at a slightly different density, but maintain the carrier of the actual shoe itself.
Do you think it's more expensive to build a shoe that way? Having the Strobel separate to the shoe and all these different additions and putting it together, or do you think it's going to be a similar cost? Or
I reckon it would be more expensive to start. I think anytime you break ground like this, things are expensive because they're new, and you're going to have to come up with ways in the factory to create this.
So what's the price tag of that shoe?
It's nothing extraordinary. I'm not going to talk. I won't talk too much about it now because we're getting left off the launch program for it. So I'm not going to. I'm not going overboard with this shoe. This shoe's all right. This shoe's all right for now.
Oh, here we go.
Someone else can do the marketing for that. Someone else is allowed to sell it. But how about we move on to some listener questions, fellas? What do you think about that?
We've been on for an hour almost, so let's make it. Maybe pick your favorite one.
I got some good ones come in. Actually, I'm going to roll you some. Yeah. So Tom, straight up, I'm going to throw you a curly one. I'm going to throw you one here. It's from someone in the industry. Carbon plates have shown to increase load on the Achilles, and when combined with high stack soft foams, there's a clear increase in soft tissue damage in the calf muscle and up the chain to hamstrings, and all the issues you get from lower back and hip misalignments. Is adding orthotics for further arch support a recipe for disaster?
Look, it's convoluted.
Yeah, so he's talking about the carbon plate being an issue, then he just shifts to an orthotic being an issue.
That's the question. I'm passing that on.
Has the carbon plate in isolation been found to cause those problems, or what?
So, yeah, I think I'd get back to the where is this question? So he initially said, "Oh yeah, carbon plates don't increase load on the Achilles." And when combined, no, yeah. So I think carbon plates, I think they can increase load in the Achilles only when they're flat,
Right.
not spoon shaped, and they're overly. It's all about the stiffness and like how stiff it is for the given pace or body weight of the person, I would say. And then if it's incorporated into a standard geometry or a rocket geometry, because if it's in a rocket geometry and it's got a spoon shape and it's not too stiff, it's going to reduce Achilles load. It's not going to
That's
increase.
the whole idea.
It's not going to increase Achilles load.
You can reduce load across the sagittal plane joints like the big toe and the Achilles if you have the plate high at the rear foot, spoon it down lower at the forefoot. That's well established. That's why they
well
do
established.
Look,
Mizuno have a study that shows their shoe reduces calf load actually compared to a traditional shoe.
Like because you probably hit
the
midfoot with a big rocker. Yeah, I can imagine that. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like it may cause other problems. Like the capacity to be able to overstride in the super shoes is probably well announced. You know, the fact that people reduce the amount of steps they take when they run because they can stay on the ground a bit longer, store and release energy of the shoe and take a longer stride. That's why people sort of get proximal hamstring issues. You can overstride downhill it, but it's also part of why the shoe performs better. It's also part of the advantage of wearing those sort of shoes as well. So it's not the shoe geometry alone that's causing these injuries. The fact that the shoe allows you to run in a manner that makes you load these tissues a bit more, which is advantageous to run faster. Can't blame the shoe on this. So I hate questions like this. It drives me fucking nuts.
I'll tell that bloke. I'll send him feedback. Doesn't know what he's talking about.
I reckon this is definitely a question from you, isn't it?
It's not from me. It's not from me. All right, let's get on to something a little bit more less technical. What are some good wide option for fun shoes? So I simplified this from someone who said they've only ever been able to wear like the Brooks Ghost or the Nimbus or Clifton that come in wide. So they want to know, what can I wear with, I've got a wide foot as a male in a 2E. Now, the answer to this is the New Balance Supercomp trainer. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that shoe's fine for them. So they want to know what's a fun shoe I can wear. Give me a wide option.
Yeah.
In a fun shoe, and it is close to only one option in the industry, and it's
the Monster's pretty wide.
Yeah, the version 2 is still wide. I don't know.
It's high volume.
It's okay. The Monster 2 isn't a super trainer, my friend. It's fairly fun, but it ain't a super.
It's close.
It's pretty fun.
The Monster Hyper. Are you talking about?
Well, both. I mean, I even thought the Monster 1 was relatively dynamic.
Yeah, but it's not that wide. We're talking like someone who needs a wide shoe.
Yeah. Do you know? I actually agree. The Supercomp trainer is voluminous in the forefoot for sure. So, I mean, look,
it comes in 2E, Nitter. It comes in 2E.
It comes in 2E. Yeah.
It comes in 2E. That's the thing.
So it's the Racer. The V4 Racer
comes in 2E.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of those shoes. That is the answer. Yep. New Balance cater for the wide foot.
Well, you guys, the blast of the past, but I reckon at the time I definitely enjoyed it more than I do now. But the Ultra Vanish Tempo is wide in the forefoot.
It's not that wide. It's not that wide.
It's anatomical, at least.
Yeah, that's there is a difference between a shoe being anatomical and wide.
Sometimes wide is what you just need the medial part of the shoe to be a bit broader. That's maybe the wide that he's searching for. You never know.
Or that midfoot area. That's where a lot of wide feet struggle, and it's just too pinchy. And a lot of the ultras, like if you look at them, they've got big, like around where the sort of metatarsal heads sit, there's some width, but they cut back too quick, and they
do narrow midfoot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the answer to that question, we're going to say this is the New Balance Supercomp trainer and the Supercomp Elite.
Giving him two options. That's not too bad. Are there any other performance trainers on the market or racing shoes coming out? They're going to be option for wide or not?
Yeah, Yes. No. No.
Fair enough.
No, there isn't. Actually, there's one. There's one. I'm going to tell you what it is right now because I booked it and I was very happy when I booked it because I thought, you beauty.
Is it Hoka?
It's Hoka, yeah. It's the Mac 2. The Mac X2 is going to come in a wide, and the Mac X2 is a good update on the Mac X, which is a bit of a shit shoe right now.
It was a block.
Yeah,
it was a block.
So the Mac X2 is a well received update, and it's going to come in a 2E version for men, which I don't think it's the same with the New Balance. The New Balance doesn't come in wide for women. Actually, the women does come in wide in the Hoka, so keep an eye on that in February. But New Balance doesn't do wide for women in the race shoes.
Well, so isn't that until Feb?
Feb. You got a while to wait there.
That's all right. Okay. I thought you were going to say next month. I'm like, okay.
Nah, that's the sort of lead times that I'm supposed to not talk about. All right, we had about 100 questions on this one. Super Blast 2 changes and release date.
Ooh, yeah.
This is probably the most anticipated update I reckon I've ever seen. In a jogging shoe for sure. This shoe comes in July. It's the updates. I think we can talk about it. We'll talk about it. So it goes down 2 points in density. So it goes from I'm not sure exactly what number it is. Maybe we won't talk specifics, but it goes down in 2 points. So it gets slightly softer. It gets a new upper. So the upper changes slightly, and then you get rid of some of the cavities in the sole of the shoe, and you get a little bit more lug on the outer sole.
Good.
I think it's brilliant.
And somehow it's lost weight. I think the upper's more knitted though, isn't it? Like it's a slightly more mobile upper. Is that right?
Yeah,
slightly more like the Nova Blast, or
I think so. I can't fully. I didn't really notice. No one even noticed putting it on. Like it was.
That might be the difference, I reckon. That's the only issue. I mean, there were no issues really with the Super Blast one. It was a great shoe. Maybe it was but the upper probably was a little bit narrower in the forefoot, a bit pointier perhaps. But like the knitted upper would solve that straight away.
Yeah, I think it's negligible difference in the upper. Underneath, I think giving it a bit more softness will get a lot of more people into it, and also the traction for some dirt road running.
Good.
I think it's going to be even better. And keep an eye out July. Actually, everyone would have underestimated the amount that they're getting. All the stores would have. You got to hit us up at Geelong if you really want to get on board that launch, because I've got about 50 people waiting for that shoe.
Absolutely.
So hit us up at Geelong if you want to get maybe a bit more of a heads up on what's happening. All right.
That's exciting. Yep.
We've seen Nike going forward are changing the structure of their performance running lineup. Have you guys seen this? Seen what's happening there?
No, what's happening?
So, currently they have like Peg, Vomero, Structure, Invincible,
Infinity,
Peg Turbo, Infinity. Yeah. They got a bit patchy everywhere. So they're changing like the pillars that the families that their shoes sit in. So they're going to have 3 families: the Structure family, the Pegasus family, and the Vomero family. Structure family is obviously going to be about stability and making a stable feeling shoe. The Vomero family will be about plush cushion and softer, more cushion experience. And then the Pegasus family will be responsive and a snappier type feel. And they're going to have 3 different pillars within those families, where you'll have Vomero 18, Pegasus 41, and the Structure 25. And then you're going to have Structure Premium, Structure Plus, Structure Premium. It'll be Pegasus Plus, Pegasus Premium, Vomero Plus, Vomero Premium. And so as you sort of go up the pillars, you're going to get a more enhanced version of that type of experience that the shoe family offers.
Is it going to be 1 or 2 or 3 shoes per family, or what?
No. 3 shoes per family. So
yeah, okay, got it.
The model, like the base model, which would be like
premium.
Peg.
Yeah.
Then we've seen Peg Premium. It's been all
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
It was in Paris.
That's the Zoom Air. That's the full length Zoom Air one.
Zoom Air bag
Zoom
that's
Air.
shaped.
Zoom X on the top
It
and
looks-
React on the bottom.
Yeah.
It looks 3 different foams.
Did you say you tried that on?
I've put my foot in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what's your initial thoughts on actual performance model versus?
It's
like, is it?
It feels like it looks. It's very unstable when I put it on. You've got 3 foams and you've got a Zoom bag sandwiched in the middle that goes the entire way through, and the top foam's very soft, the bottom foam's soft. It's going to be for running on concrete. It's going to be for running in straight lines. It's going to be running. It's going to be for someone who's not a big rear foot striker. It's going to be a pretty nice shoe. You're going to get a pretty nice. You're going to have a lot of fun in that thing. It's not that light. I think it comes in around 300 grams or so. So it's not a super trainer as such. It's just I don't want to sound wanky, but it's an experience running in that shoe. That it's not a fast running shoe. It's just cushion and
it sounds wanky.
Yeah, they shaped the airbag to be the same sort of shape as the plate in the Alpha
As the
Flight.
plate, yeah. It looks awesome. I love that.
I know. I mean, we're all going to get one. We know that.
One.
But the Peg Plus, the Peg is the Peg Turbo. But it's a new Peg Turbo.
Okay.
And I actually think that's the shoe of the range, to be honest. Like, I fucking love that thing when I saw it. I think we're going back to the glory days, boys. I think we're going to have that shoe
please
back up on the pedestal. And
good.
then for Mero, like I did see something, and I can't really chat about this one, but there's some fucking wild stuff coming from Nike that sits in that last pillar. Some wild stuff. A listener question. I'm going to throw something out to you. I'm going to throw it out to you, Nida. What's a good shoe? What's a shoe that has good ideas but was done badly? Now, that's a great question.
Good ideas but done badly. All right. Good ideas that's done badly. I
got an answer for this, by the way.
Well, if you got any answers, Tommy?
Jeez, I'm thinking. They're out there.
I can't think of anything initially. You go, Julian. I'll keep thinking. I'll come up with one.
Hoka Bondi X. So
really?
Yeah.
It
didn't last long, did it?
It was a jogging shoe. It could have been a brilliant therapy shoe, but they put that plate fucking flat as a tack, horizontal. There was no rocker at all. It was just a brutal experience for the wearer. Like, that shoe could have been that shoe could have been a therapy shoe, a walking shoe. It could have been a great running shoe for a bigger person. Could have been a race shoe for people. It could have covered so many bases, but it didn't. It was hard.
Is that discontinued?
Narrow. Yeah, discontinued.
Do you remember when Asics were they were diving into the shoe foam changes and making them really plush? They released this shoe that was completely black and gold. Remember that? It was
Meta.
Meta. It was the first up the Meta ever, wasn't it? The Meta.
It was like a Kayano, basically.
It was, yeah.
Fuck, what was that called?
It obviously wasn't successful at all. But it was like a shoe to try and use the carrier foam. I think it was just flight foam, actually, wasn't it? It wasn't anything special off memory. But they sold it for a exuberant amount of money as well. Like, it was about $350, and it was just black with shades of gold. And it was the most rubbish shoe.
The Meta Run?
Nah, the Meta Run was the first rocker soled one that they built. The really firm.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Before they released the Glide Ride. But it was just such a rubbish concept for a shoe. So the concept was actually not too bad, like in terms of making a really plush super shoe probably at the point in time, but it ended up being heavy. The foam wasn't that soft. There was no rocker in the shoe. It felt like a hollow Kayano. That's what it felt like.
It was expensive too.
It was expensive. Yeah, that was poorly done. But I reckon they were the first to try and market a shoe of a concept of being really lightweight and super and foamy, but it was none of that. So
I'm going to find that name. While Tommy gives his answer, I'm finding that. I found it. Where was it? I just saw it. Damn it! I just hit it. Keep going, Tommy. You do it.
Yeah, I don't know. All that's coming to my head now we're on Asics is the original Edge, which I don't know of many people that actually tried it.
Oh yeah, remember the Tokyo Racer?
Oh, the Tokyo, yes, that was kind of like their first super shoe.
Yeah.
And it was not.
Remember the slab
super.
of outsole? The outsole was about like, I don't know how thick it was, but it was like 1/3 of the midsole combination with the outsole. Yeah, that was a failure.
Yeah.
It was called the Meta Run, Knitter. Sorry, mate.
Meta Run.
It was Meta Run, and maybe it changed to the next one. I remember that. I remember that it did change.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that
was. Shoes for bigger runners. Bigger runners, as in higher mass individuals, like bigger people. What are we What are you blokes?
You're looking for midsole. You're looking for increased density of midsole to accommodate
high density.
Yeah. We're losing those shoes a little bit now, aren't we? Like, the Dyad, for example. The Dyad's disappearing now, and it's funny. I put a fair few patients like this into shoes like the Ghost Max because it's okay for the first half of the lifespan, but it's still too soft. It's still. It's still too soft, but it's almost had the same type of geometry as a Dyad. But when the Dyad disappears, there's not going to be too many of them left.
I reckon we're going to swing around again. Like I feel like we're going to reach a peak now where shoes are just ridiculously soft, and they cause people issues and people's experience. Yeah. Although the brands value highly softness as an experience, I feel like the user does not value it like a brand values it. I reckon.
I agree.
Stability.
Like a few trail shoes work well, don't they? Because the outsole itself makes the shoe feel firmer, more industrial, more durable. Sometimes you head that direction a little bit as well.
Yeah, trail shoes I've been erring on because I like high dense shoes. It's and because I've got a weird gait, as you've called out. That back corner of the shoe, that needs to be firm for me, and it needs to be firm for a bigger person, because a bigger person tends to be, like, generalizing here, but a bit slower maybe, and they don't run on their midfoot as much as someone really light might. They tend to shuffle a bit more. They might do a bit more walking through their runs, and the back of the shoe has to be strong. You have to have a lot of guts and integrity in the rear foot of the shoe. You can't have a marshmallow at the back, because that's where all the load's going on at the strike point. And when someone lands, they're often not totally central when they're landing. They're landing slightly supinated, and that outside corner gives way. With, you say you've got 100 kilos going there, that might be 400 kilos worth of force hitting that back corner. And you've got a 35 density foam in there with a concave. Fucking forget it. That shoe's all over. That shoe 50K in, that shoe's fucked.
Yeah, and sometimes those shoes feel really, really firm for the event. They compress the foam so quickly, they feel like they're hitting the ground almost instantly. So those things don't work. That's why you put a heavy person into a higher density foam, so they get a bit of the cushion experience. You compress the foam progressively over time. If you can compress it immediately in a short period of time, that shoe doesn't feel soft to them. It's almost too soft. They actually feel like they're hitting the ground.
Yeah. This is where I think the shoe companies need to spend more time in the community and testing shoes and getting feedback late into the life of the shoe, not so much like cherry picking their wear test community and getting feedback when the person puts it on in the store or in the clinic or whatever. They need to actually go out and see the consequence of what they're doing when they make foams like this.
But you'd almost say, like, outside of purpose, what you're buying the shoe for, body mass of the individual is almost the most important metric that you're looking for to connect a person with a shoe. Not foot position and posture and geometry. It's probably body mass. That's probably the first thing that you're really looking for, that you can control.
Yeah, well, it's a good discussion to have because that's definitely up there, and it's actually not part of the fitting discussion. Really, it's something you might use your discretion on when you go out the back.
Yeah.
But what you do have to like,
but you'd be doing that, and
you have to account for.
If someone walks through the door and they're 120 kilos, immediately you've eliminated heaps of low durometer.
I got 3 shoes for them these days.
Yeah,
3
exactly.
shoes. Yeah. Because that foot's going to be wide too. You won't get that foot's going to be broad. No one has a narrow foot at 120 kilos. Well,
sometimes, but rare. Yep.
Yeah, very rare. And yeah, you've only got you've got a few tools in your toolbox, and they're running out.
Yep.
I've been searching part of literally our hunt. At the moment, I'm trying to find shoes that accommodates that customer. I'm looking in brands I've never thought of before.
Yeah,
eyes are open to what else is out there, and often it's some cheaper shoes with high-density foam.
Funny you said that, because I was just thinking as you were talking about that, a shoe that I actually bought a couple of months ago, Asics Pulse. Have you seen that shoe?
Yeah, I've seen it a lot.
Oh. Yeah, so it's a cheapie. It's 180 retail. So not super cheap, but it's the lower end of a half decent running shoe. And the experience, the first step in experience, is nothing special. It's actually pretty uninspiring. But to be honest, it's surpassed.
That's right up your alley, though.
It's surpassing some of the other shoes that initially felt better from a durability standpoint. So now that I've done. It's almost like it's broken in. So now that I've done, I don't know, what have I done in that? Probably 400K at least. It feels better than it did when it was new. It doesn't bottom out. It's just EVA, but it's a higher durometer. I still think because it's using just geometry. There's no plastic bits, no shanks. They're still using sort of a geometry-based system. It still feels better than their old shoes that were a high durometer foam. It's almost like a hybrid. It's high durometer, but it still feels better than their old high durometer shoes of 5-10 years ago.
The shoe that fits this is the Brooks Defiance that still exists in the industry. That shoe
does it really? Yeah,
it still exists, but they don't do it in wide. That's the problem. I've ordered that for the big person that crushes their shoes, and that it is brilliant. And the best thing is it still has an X shank through the middle, so that customer that needs a bit of torsional stiffness, that's the problem with that Pulse there. You kind of know what's going to happen as it compresses. It gets a little bit too flexible because there's nothing to stiffen it. Whereas this Defiance is the shoe, 12 mil pitch. Fucking throwback type shoe.
Yeah.
Not many 12 mil pitches left out there.
No, I know. It's hard work right now. It's hard work to be old school.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's probably going to swing back a little bit at some point.
It has to at some point. People aren't getting skinnier, mate, in this world. It's going the other way. Sounds a bit weird, but we're not accommodating for most of the population, are we?
Right. All right. That's some good questions. I reckon we covered a lot of them.
Yeah.
I want to know
later on.
I want to know what you guys are looking forward to in July. Now, you know what's coming out. I don't have that much license to tell people what's coming out. I might tell you anyway. But what are you guys looking forward to coming July?
Look. The super. I mean, you've got the new Spike out. I shouldn't be talking about Spike because I fucking can't even run yet. You've got the new Air Victory 2s as well. They look fantastic. Yeah. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing that in summer. But look, those on shoes, I saw them a bit as well. I'm pretty keen to try anything with a really soft forefoot that looks super at the moment. But look, I brought super shoes here for everything. My jogging shoes are the Neo Vista and the Super Blast. So I really can't go backwards from this now. That's my life. So I can't put on a Pulse, mate. No. I can't go back there.
Oh, mate, you would absolutely hate a Pulse.
Now we know how he goes on holiday because he wears the Asics Pulse. All the money he saves wearing the Asics Pulse, he goes.
Yeah, and then I buy an Evo 1 and then just undo it all.
Yeah. No. Super Blast is the hot ticket at the moment, I reckon. But outside of that, Well, those on ones look pretty good, don't they? What do they call the strike? The cloud, the boom strike?
I'll talk about these again in September when we can sell them, all right?
Okay.
Tom, what are you looking forward to?
To be honest, I'm not. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. What's coming out? I know that the Super Blast 2, obviously, because I, like many people, loved the Super Blast, so I'm looking forward to version 2 for sure. So I'll get a pair of those.
The Adidas
to be
Pro,
honest,
the Adios Pro 4, which looks like very similar to the Evo 1, but the rocker looks further forward. That looks exciting as well. That looks like a huge update from the Pro 3.
yeah. I mean, I've never worn, or the ones that I've tried on, I never really liked the standard Pros. Yeah. I don't know if I'll like the Evos, but they certainly. I mean, that's what I'm most excited about trying. Obviously now, like, to be honest, the delivery of this was like waiting for my first Vaporfly 2017. That was
What size
was
did you
the
get?
level. Size 12 US.
12. It fits?
Yeah.
Adidas rode pretty big. Yeah, they ran big.
Yeah, so it's probably like a 12 and a half Vaporfly fit for me, which is fine. Yeah. It'll get me through a marathon. I weighed it this morning to a pair of Mayflies. Which one's heavier?
Or Mayfly by 5 grams.
20 grams heavier.
Wow.
Mayfly. Yeah. I know.
So what's that? Hold on, let's just guess the weight, Snitter. So if it's 20 grams.
Mayfly would have been about 110 grams.
No, think about his size. He's a fucking
size 13,
giant.
140 versus 120.
Nah.
Yeah, so I got big feet. So the Mayfly was 170.
Okay.
And my Evo ones are 152.
152 for that size hoof.
Oh no, it's unbelievable. So it's like, yeah, I think my Vaporflies, I'm pretty sure I don't have them here. They're at work, so I didn't weigh them, but I'm pretty sure they were like 230 something. My Vaporflies.
Yeah.
My Edge Paris is 230 something.
Wow, really?
So it's like 80 grams lighter, almost 100 grams. And as we know, 100 grams is like 1%.
So what marathon are you going to wear them in? What are you going?
I don't know. I'm down for Gold Coast, but it's not looking good. But
back to Melbourne.
Gary Howard has you at 2.9 for that, mate. 2.9.
It would be the worst prep. And if I wear this shoe for that race and I don't run well, I'll be very upset.
About Sydney. What about the home one again?
Oh, I'm doing Sydney. So have you heard the news? I got a message from Big Jimbo today. Big Jimmy.
What's
prize money? Aussie only prize money's back.
Oh yeah, hello.
It's back.
Okay.
You in, Julian?
Why does it keep doing that thumbs up for?
Someone's liking Tommy's comments. Yeah, there's a thumbs up.
Wait.
In the back.
Do we have listeners? Do we have watchers?
No, surely no one's here watching.
No, no one's live.
Okay. Someone's doing thumbs up.
Someone's loving this.
It's only you. It's only you. Yeah.
Sydney, yeah. I mean, Sydney,
yeah. So lock it
in. Hey, I'm going to Zurich, I think.
Oh.
No, I should get invited before we talk about this. We'll leave that for now. Should receive the official invite, I think. Anyway, Sydney looks good to me as well. I would like to do Sydney, but that's coming up pretty quick already.
Yeah. We've got to start thinking about locking that down.
It's not that close. Tom's got he'll get plenty of training done before then. He'll have 2 head colds between now and then. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I will. I reckon, percentage-wise, I probably had 90% of the viruses going around Sydney so far this winter. So maybe this is a good thing. Then I'll have like a solid Sydney block. And yeah, I'm pumped.
It's never a good thing, Tom.
Nah.
Huh?
Nah.
It's never a good thing to get sick. Let's be honest.
No.
All right.
Maybe I'll save it for Valencia. I'll go to Valencia again.
Yeah.
Just
that's a good hunting ground for you there.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll save him for that.
Maybe take another gel and you might break that record.
Yeah. Downhill course.
Downhill course.
The old asterisk course. Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah. All right,
guys,
fellas.
I'm going to go have a holiday.
Good to have you. Go do a workout, Nita. We're going to be watching on Strava.
Yeah. Don't snap an ankle.
I guess what shoes I'm going to wear. I did bring another pair of shoes.
Oh, what? I
did get one more pair of shoes in. Yeah. I brought the Alphafly 3 because I haven't actually worn them yet. So I'm opposite the Croaks. I will not waste my shoe because I'm not ready to wear it. I think, I might not ever wear this. I might never get back into shape again, so I might as well wear it. So
got to wear it.
You brought so let's just reel them off. Trabuco
Neo
Max,
Vista.
Neo
Vista. Trabuco Max. Yep. Super
Blast, Alphafly 3, Boston.
And that's my casual shoe. Remember, didn't bring any casual shoes with. I got RM Williams boots for the wedding. That's about it. So
Boston is not a good casual shoe.
No,
mate, that looks good. Adidas,
it's just not comfortable to walk in. Come on.
No, it's just narrow and high. It's just not. It's not suitable.
It's not narrow.
You're a podiatrist.
Oh, mate.
That is awful shoe selection from you.
No, I got to get out of here.
All right. See ya.
All right, we'll see you later, guys.
See you guys.